Imagine you're driving your e-rickshaw, minding your own business, and it just dies. No warning, no sound. The engine simply cuts out in the middle of traffic. You check the battery, you check the wiring, everything looks fine, but it won't start. What you don't know is that somewhere behind you, a stranger. Let's break down exactly how it works, why it's so easy to pull off, and more importantly, how to stop it from happening to you. Over the past few days, a trend has exploded across Instagram, YouTube, and X. People are filming themselves walking up to random e-rickshaws, locally called Tirris, pulling out an app and remotely shutting off the vehicle's power mid-drive, mid-traffic, sometimes on a moving vehicle with passengers still inside. The driver has no idea what just happened. Some push their rickshaws for kilometers, exhausted and confused, thinking it's a mechanical fault. Others pay strangers on the street a couple hundred rupees just to get their vehicle switched back on, not realizing that stranger might be the exact same type of person who could switch it off again 5 minutes later. It's been framed online as a prank, a joke, revenge for reckless e-rickshaw driving. But underneath the memes is a genuinely serious cybersecurity and road safety problem. So how does a random stranger's phone control your vehicle? It comes down to the battery. Most budget e-rickshaws in India run on lithium battery packs, and inside each pack sits something called a BMS, a battery management system. Think of it as the brain of the battery. It monitors voltage, temperature, charge level, and critically, it controls whether the battery is allowed to send power out to the motor at all. Many of these BMS units are made cheaply in China, and a huge number of them ship with Bluetooth built in, so an owner can check battery health from their phone instead of buying a separate monitor. That's the legitimate use case. The problem is how that Bluetooth connection is secured, or rather, how it isn't. On a lot of these battery packs, the Bluetooth pairing has no password, no PIN, no authentication whatsoever. It's wide open, which means anyone standing within about 10 to 15 meters, with the right app installed, can connect to any nearby e-rickshaw battery, not just their own, any of them. And the app that happens to work with this particular type of battery is BAT-BMS, made by a company called Shenzhen Grenergy Technology. It's a completely legitimate tool built for battery owners to monitor their own equipment. But because there's no lock on the door, it also lets a total stranger open a live control panel for someone else's vehicle, including a switch that turns the battery's power output on or off. Flip that switch and the rickshaw's motor loses power instantly. If it's parked, that's mildly annoying. If it's moving through traffic, that's dangerous. This isn't just an inconvenient prank. Safety experts have flagged some real risks here. E-rickshaws are light. They sit high off the ground, and they're often packed into dense traffic. If the power cuts out suddenly while one is turning, going up a slope, or squeezed into a busy intersection, the driver can lose balance or steering control. And a vehicle behind it, expecting the rickshaw to keep moving, may not have enough time to react, raising the risk of a rear-end collision. There's also the human cost that doesn't show up in the traffic statistics. Many of these drivers rent their vehicles daily. A shutdown that costs them an hour or a whole day of work is a direct hit to their income for something that was entirely out of their control. And legally, this isn't just a harmless joke either. Cyber law experts have pointed out that connecting to someone else's device without permission and disabling it can fall under India's Information Technology Act, specifically the sections dealing with unauthorized access and damage to computer systems. As the videos spread, so did the pressure. India's Ministry of Electronics and IT began examining the app and the wider security of these battery systems. Delhi's Transport Department said it would look into the complaints, and the app itself disappeared from Apple's App Store, though at the time of writing, it's still downloadable on Google Play. Here's the interesting part. The app developer actually pushed a fix. Starting around July 1st, updated versions of the BMS software began requiring a password before anyone can access those control switches, meaning only the actual registered owner should be able to turn their battery on or off. That's a real improvement, but it only protects rickshaws running the updated firmware and app. Millions of older units on the road right now are still running the old, unprotected version and will stay vulnerable until manufacturers or owners actively update them. So if you're an e-rickshaw owner or you know someone who is, here's what actually helps. 1. Update the app and firmware. If your BMS supports the newer, password-protected version, install it. This alone closes the exact loophole being exploited. 2. Check for a PIN or pairing lock. Some newer battery packs let you set a custom Bluetooth PIN in settings. If yours has that option, turn it on immediately. 3. Ask your dealer or manufacturer directly. If you bought your e-rickshaw or battery recently, contact the seller and ask whether your specific BMS model has this open Bluetooth issue and whether a patch exists. 4. This one's simple but important. Don't buy the cheapest unbranded battery system you can find. A big part of this whole mess exists because ultra-low-cost BMS units skip security almost entirely to cut costs. Spending a little more on a reputable brand often means spending a little more on your own safety. And zooming out for a second, this isn't really a story about one dodgy app. It's a story about what happens when cheap, connected devices get built without basic security. Your rickshaw battery, your smart bulb, your fitness tracker, anything with a wireless chip inside can have the same problem if nobody bothered to lock the door. BAT-BMS just happened to be the one that went viral. So the next time you see a Tirri control video and laugh at the prank, remember, there's a real driver on the other end of that shutdown, losing real income over a security flaw nobody told him about. The technology to fix this already exists. It just needs to actually reach the millions of vehicles still running unprotected. If you found this breakdown useful, hit subscribe. I cover stories like this every week, where I take a viral trend and actually explain the tech behind it.